Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a while since I last uploaded a video. It's been a pretty busy couple of months for me, but yes, I'm back posting videos. If you're new to the channel, I'm a Singaporean currently based in Seattle, working in tech. A few months ago, I posted a video about why I left Singapore to chase the American dreams, the motivation part of it. But in that video, I did not actually talk about how I actually did it, the actual process part of it, specifically how I left Singapore and secured an opportunity to come to the US, the preparation and planning that came along 1 year before the actual process. So hopefully this video will give everyone some clarity if you have similar aspirations and want to think about coming to the US to study or work in the future. I first had concrete intentions about coming to the US in June of 2018, exactly 1 year before I ultimately left my job in Singapore and flew to the US. You may think that 1 year is a pretty long time in terms of looking for opportunities and planning. But however, many of my business school classmates started their preparations way earlier than me. And there are people that I know of that took as much as 2 to 3 years to plan for the opportunity to come to the US. So one of the first learning over here is that make sure to start your planning process early because opportunities do not just come about overnight. To give you a bit of context, the general path to come to work in the US are either to study in a US university, then secure a job here after graduation, or to some form of internal transfer within your company to the US office, provided your company has an established business in the US. However, such opportunities are typically reserved for more senior employees within the company. So for me, I chose the first path of coming to US to study, which was why I applied to an MBA in the US. And one of the reasons was because the second route of internal transfer was not very feasible for me because I was just a junior employee within my company in Singapore. In terms of which degree to apply in the US, be it MBA or Masters in a specialized field, I will not really get into the details in this video. However, the reason I applied to an MBA was because my long-term career goal was to become a senior leadership within the company and take up a senior management role. Therefore, an MBA makes the most sense in terms of my career goals. And in order to get into a top MBA program within the US, at that point in time I needed two things. One is to have a GMAT score, and two is to submit applications to each of the business school that I am applying to, which included things like my resume, application essays, and letter of recommendations as part of the application package. And after making up my mind to go down this path, I started studying for my GMAT somewhere around late June of 2018. And I mostly did my studying on the weekday nights and the weekends because I was still a full-time employee at that point in time. So it was definitely a pretty challenging situation juggling two area focus. And after around 1.5 months of studying, I took my first GMAT exam. And not surprisingly, my preparation were not nearly enough. I completely underestimated the difficulty of GMAT. Typically for international students, if we want to get into a top MBA program, we will want to aim for a GMAT score of 700 and above. And my first GMAT result was not even close to that range. Therefore, I decided to give it a second shot and book my second GMAT exam. So I give myself around 3 more months to study and just like build up on the things that I was lacking. After 3 more months of studying and doing numerous GMAT practice exams online, I took my second GMAT test in November of 2018. However, unfortunately, I scored below my target score again. And at that point in time, I was really demoralized, to be honest, because I had had enough studying for GMAT. And I really wanted to get GMAT out of the way so that I can start focusing on other part of the application. And taking a closer look at my score, what I was lacking was the verbal part, which I scored pretty terribly in my both attempts. And my math and quantitative was pretty consistent. And this is generally the story for most international students. And then I decided to book my third and final GMAT attempt for the year 1 month later for early December of 2018. That was most likely my final shot for GMAT if I want to catch the August 2019 intake, because most of the business school application deadline is in January 2019, so I needed to complete my GMAT prior to that. Over the next 1 month, I really took my GMAT revision a lot more seriously. I focused on brushing up every single area of the verbal portion that I was lacking. Unfortunately, for my third attempt in December, I achieved my target score. And with GMAT out of the way, I can finally start focusing on my business school applications. And honestly, at the point in time, I regretted not starting my overall preparation process earlier because by then I have already missed the first round of business school applications for 2019 intake, and the deadline to most schools for second round of applications is in early January, which means at that point in time I only had 1 month to complete all my business school applications. And being a full-time employee at that point in time in Singapore, I did not want to compromise my work performance either because there was no guarantee that I would be accepted to any of the business school that I applied for. Therefore, over the next 1 month, it was the most intense period that I have ever experienced in terms of juggling my full-time work and spending 100% of all my free time over the weekday, nights and weekends to prepare for my business school applications, brushing out on my resume, writing my application essays, reaching out to existing students to network and find out more about the business school, as well as reaching out to my colleagues and past managers to write letter of recommendations. There was just a ton of things to do in terms of preparation, writing and researching. Therefore, that 1 month period of time, I had zero free time. I sacrificed a lot of sleep so that I can catch the January application deadline. After submitting my business school applications by January of 2019, I could finally take a short break because everything beyond that point of time was less within my control, and I could finally take some time to rest and wait for interview invites and results. And within a couple of weeks, I received an interview invite from Cornell Johnson, which definitely is a good news. The overall interview experience with Cornell Johnson was pretty pleasant and casual, which I enjoyed the process. And at that point in time, I had a pretty good feeling about my chances of getting admitted. A couple of weeks passed again, and I believe it was somewhere around late February, I received an email from Cornell Johnson informing me about my admission to the program. And it was such a great feeling because all the hard work and preparation that I have put in over the past couple of months yielded results, and I accepted the offer in a heartbeat. So the next couple of months from early March to early June were mostly logistical process such as applying for student loans, visa application, looking for accommodation, as well as general travel planning. I eventually left my job in June, exactly 1 month before I was about to fly to the US. And the reason I took this 1 month break was because I was pretty exhausted and slightly burnt out from the overall process as well as work at that point of time. So before I start to embark on my new journey, I really needed that 1 month break and just like do nothing and relax. Did a bit of light traveling to visit my friends and relatives and just catch up with a lot of different people before I leave Singapore. So that 1 month was pretty memorable and really relaxing. And in late June of 2019, I flew to the US and started my MBA journey as well as my journey to pursue my American dream. I might do a part 2 video about how I navigated my recruiting process during business school and landed my tech offer, because I know this is a video that some of you have requested for. But yes, this is the summary of how I left Singapore and moved to the US and the preparation and planning that I had to take 1 year leading up to it. A lot of learnings for sure, but I think the 2 key learnings that I want to share is that first, really start your preparation and planning process early as possible, because if you want to take up a similar path, you really want to get some of the more like logistical stuff such as taking your GMAT exam as early as possible so that you can get such requirements out of the way and you can have enough time to focus on like university applications, networking, which will take up really more time than you imagine. And I would say that the second overall learning on just chasing the American dream is that do not afraid to take risks and have big aspirations. Because I personally do not really see myself as a really special person. I'm a pretty ordinary guy, and if I can secure the opportunity to do the things I want to do, I strongly believe that you can as well. So do not be afraid to take actions, because a lot of things that initially seems to be impossible are actually completely achievable if you put your mind to it. Thanks for watching the video. Right now it's November in Seattle and it's pretty cold out there, but I really enjoy being outdoors. and just enjoy the scenic nature of Seattle. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.